2013, a team pulled a 4,500-year-old papyrus from the Egyptian desert, the personal logbook of a man named Merer, who documented his crew hauling casing stones to the Great Pyramid. For the first time, there was a named eyewitness to pyramid construction. That discovery should have closed the mystery of who built these monuments and what purpose they truly served. It didn't, because that same decade, physicists aimed cosmic rays through the pyramid's core and detected a massive hidden void that no one can explain or access. The secrets inside may run deeper than anyone expected, and the story begins not with aliens or lost civilizations, but with a pharaoh named Khufu and the kingdom he commanded.
In the early 26th century BC, Egypt entered its fourth dynasty, a period of unprecedented administrative power. During this era, the monument now known as the Great Pyramid was given its official name, Akhet Khufu, meaning the horizon of Khufu. This name, preserved in contemporary administrative records, identifies the massive structure not as an accidental relic, but as the planned centerpiece of a royal tomb project. The most definitive evidence linking the monument to this specific ruler lies hidden within its most inaccessible spaces. High above the king's chamber, inside the low-ceilinged relieving chambers, are rough blocks of limestone never meant to be seen by human eyes. In the 1830s, explorers Howard Weiss and John Shea Perring penetrated these chambers, discovering clusters of red ochre quarry marks painted onto the stone. Among these marks are hieroglyphs writing out the name of Khufu inside a royal cartouche. Recent non-destructive testing by the World Scan Project confirmed that these marks were painted with a fine brush using ancient mineral pigments applied directly at the quarry before the blocks were positioned. These raw markings served as simple delivery labels for the stonecutters, designating which gang of workers was responsible for the blocks. They provide a direct, indelible link to Khufu's administration, anchoring the stone monument to a documented historical reign. This grand undertaking demanded the total mobilization of the Old Kingdom state apparatus. The sheer scale of this coordination reflects a highly centralized society capable of directing massive resources toward a single, monumental objective, turning the religious ideology of a royal burial into an immense state project that permanently transformed the Nile Valley. Just 400 meters south of the Great Sphinx lies Hayt el Garab, a massive, wall-enclosed settlement dating back to the 26th century BC, excavated by archaeologist Mark Lehner. This ancient urban center reveals the daily lives and organizational structure of the pyramid builders. It was a planned city containing residential barracks, copper-working workshops, pottery manufacturing sites, and large grain storage facilities. Industrial-scale bakeries operated throughout the area, turning out thousands of loaves of bread daily from standardized clay molds. The physical remains show a community specifically designed to house and feed a rotating workforce of 20,000 to 30,000 people. The archaeological record reveals a permanent, state-supported infrastructure that cared for its populace. Vast animal bone deposits nearby indicate that these workers regularly consumed high-quality beef, sheep, and goat meat, representing a rich protein diet supplied by royal estates across the Nile Delta. Their recognized social position is reflected in the nearby workers' cemetery. Discovered by Zahi Hawass, these mud brick tombs contain offering vessels, beer jars, and skeletal remains showing signs of medical treatment, including set fractures and successful amputations. Hieroglyphic inscriptions on these graves identify the deceased as workmen of the king, burying them with honors close to the royal monument. Inside the monument itself, red ochre graffiti left on raw stone blocks records the signatures of the work crews. Hand-painted names like the Friends of Khufu reveal a highly structured system of labor gangs, showing that the pyramid builders operated with a shared identity and internal organization. In 2013, a discovery at the ancient Red Sea harbor of Wadi al-Jarf redefined the construction of the Great Pyramid, turning an abstract mystery into a concrete administrative operation. Archaeologists uncovered a cache of fragile papyrus fragments containing the daily logbook of an inspector named Mirir. Dating precisely to the 27th year of Khufu's reign, these 4 distinct papyrus groups represent the only surviving first-hand accounts of the large-scale logistics of Giza. Mirir's entries record schedules, shift work, and cargo. Supervising a specialized crew of roughly 200 men, Mirir managed a fleet of wooden boats that moved through a state-run shipping network. His daily columns tracked departure dates, cargo loads, and destinations, documenting a continuous shuttle service, quarrying fine white casing limestone at Tura, loading the heavy blocks, and sailing them across the Nile. The mechanics of this waterborne transit became much clearer with the mapping of the Aramat branch, a now dry 64-kilometer channel of the Nile that once flowed directly past the pyramid fields. During seasonal floods, Mirir's boats used this heavy transport corridor to reach the plateau. His crew steered through artificial canals and basins, mooring at a harbor near the Royal Causeway. Written in the precise calendar of the Akhet Khufu year, Mirir's logs track these deliveries down to the half-day, documenting the exact moments the Tura casing stones transition from river barges onto the shore, ready to be pulled to the building site. The raw blocks arriving at the Giza Plateau require specific quarrying and shaping methods, tailored to the physical characteristics of each stone type. The Great Pyramid consists of approximately 2.3 million limestone blocks, averaging 2.5 tons alongside massive granite beams weighing over 70 tons. This division of materials demanded a practical approach to tool design and physical labor. For the softer limestone of the Giza Plateau and the Tura quarries, workers used copper chisels and wooden mallets. Although copper has a low Mohs hardness of about 3, microscopic analysis of the quarry faces reveals distinct tool striations that match the capabilities of these soft metal blades. To split larger sections of limestone, workers drove dry wooden wedges into natural fissures, then soaked them with water, using the natural swelling of the wood fibers to crack the bedrock. Experimental work by archaeologist Dennis Stocks showed that these simple copper tools, paired with abrasive quartz sand, sliced through soft limestone, turning a basic metal into an effective tool. The massive granite blocks, quarried 800 kilometers south in Aswan, resisted copper entirely. To shape these exceptionally hard stones, workers relied on dolerite pounders, spherical, angular hammer stones composed of a dense volcanic rock. Instead of cutting or sawing, laborers repeatedly struck the granite face, pulverizing the stone. Petrological studies of recovered dolerite tools show distinct wear patterns that match the impact craters on the unfinished granite quarries of Aswan. Experimental tests confirm that a team of 5 workers using these volcanic stones could quarry a 2-ton granite slab within a single day. The engineering triumph of Giza rests on the systematic, scalable repetition of these basic mechanics. Rather than relying on complex machinery, the builders organized thousands of individuals into disciplined work units, repeating these simple cutting and pounding actions millions of times over decades. The physical evidence on the stones themselves, the chisel marks, the fractured quarry walls, and the discarded stone hammers proves that organized human physical effort, directed through basic metallurgy and geology, was sufficient to shape the monument block by block. Once the limestone and granite blocks landed at the harbor of Giza, the immediate challenge became overland transport across the plateau. Moving blocks averaging 2.5 tons over dry sand presents massive frictional resistance, requiring immense physical force. To solve this, the builders used heavy wooden sledges, but their primary innovation lay in a simple physical adjustment, pouring water directly onto the sand ahead of the wooden runners. Modern physics experiments confirm that wetting the desert sand in precise ratios reduces the coefficient of friction from roughly 0.6 to 0.2. This 60% reduction meant that a team of 20 to 30 laborers could drag a standard 2.5-ton block with relatively manageable effort, pulling it up the slope of the plateau along well-worn causeways without needing complex mechanical systems. Raising these blocks to the upper courses of the rising monument required scalable engineering models. Earthen and stone ramps provided the primary solution, though their exact design remains a subject of ongoing scientific study. While a single, straight ramp reaching the top of the pyramid would require a volume of material equal to the monument itself, other configurations offer far more practical solutions. Recent engineering models simulate integrated edge ramps that run along the pyramid's four sides, allowing a continuous, gentle incline as the structure rises. Computational analyses show that a workforce of 10,000 to 15,000 could raise the required 2.3 million limestone blocks to the apex within a 14 to 21-year window, matching the estimated duration of Khufu's reign. For the upper stages, alternative proposals suggest a hybrid approach, an external ramp for the lower third of the structure, followed by an internal spiral passage embedded within the core masonry. Independent engineering studies also argue for lever and counterweight systems, utilizing the Grand Gallery as a massive inclined plane. Experimental reconstructions confirm that a simple lever and sled arrangement allows a small crew of 30 workers to lift and position heavy stone slabs, demonstrating that even the 70-ton granite beams could be raised through organized human physical effort. The final challenge was the absolute alignment of the massive structure, achieving a geometric precision that modern surveys still verify. The four sides of the Great Pyramid align almost perfectly with the cardinal points of north, south, east, and west, with an average deviation of less than 1/10 of a single degree. The builders achieved this alignment through disciplined surveying techniques and careful astronomical observations, rather than relying on complex machinery. Using simple alignment tools like the Bay and the Merket, ancient sighting instruments, and tracking the transit of circumpolar stars like Thuban across the night sky, Egyptian surveyors established a highly accurate grid on the bedrock before laying the first courses of stone. Plumb lines and water-filled trenches cut into the foundation. Bedrock ensured a perfectly level base. The construction site functioned as a disciplined, highly coordinated system, where every block was hauled, raised, and placed with calculated accuracy, transforming a massive labor pool into an organized engineering system. By treating friction, elevation, and placement as linked logistical tasks, the builders avoided the need for extraordinary machinery. Through the sheer scale of this coordinated network, the Fourth Dynasty administration established a monument of perfect geometric symmetry. In 2015, an international team of scientists known as the Scan Pyramids Consortium began a non-invasive survey of the Great Pyramid, bypassing traditional excavation for advanced particle physics. They use muon tomography, a technology that tracks cosmic ray subatomic particles, known as muons, as they rain down through the atmosphere and pass through solid matter. Because dense stone absorbs these particles, while empty space allows them to pass unobstructed, detectors placed inside and around the monument could map the interior density of the structure, exposing its internal geometry. By 2017, the scans recorded a massive, unexpected density drop directly above the Grand Gallery. This anomaly, designated the Big Void, measures at least 30 meters in length and has a cross-section similar to the Grand Gallery below it. To complement these findings, researchers conducted thermal imaging and ground-penetrating radar surveys, detecting temperature anomalies and subsurface variations along the outer walls. These physical anomalies do not validate speculative theories of ancient power plants or electromagnetic transmitters. Instead, they present a modern structural puzzle. Some researchers suggest the void served a practical engineering purpose, such as a construction corridor or a stress-relieving chamber designed to keep the immense weight of the upper core masonry from crushing the gallery below. Others hypothesize it could be a series of stepped, sealed compartments used during construction. By bringing subatomic physics into archaeological research, These discoveries refocus modern inquiry, shifting the search from how the Egyptians built the monument to what chambers remain unmapped inside its stone core. Muon tomography and ground-penetrating radar detect density variations, not architectural blueprints. A drop in density reveals that solid stone gives way to empty space, but it cannot identify what occupied that space, why it was constructed, or what it contains. In archaeological science, detection is not the same as understanding. Every digital image generated by subatomic particles or radar waves is an interpretation of raw data. Variations in stone density, natural fissures in the limestone bedrock, or shifting moisture levels inside the masonry can easily mimic structural chambers, producing false positives on a computer screen. Because these non-invasive methods are susceptible to misreadings, any anomaly remains a suggestive finding until researchers subject the data to rigorous peer review and independent confirmation by separate scientific teams. Without these standards, a scan is simply a hypothesis, not a proven fact. Even when a void is verified, the empty space remains mute. A cavity in the stone does not automatically reveal purpose. It does not signal a hidden burial chamber, a secret archive, or an engineering feature. Without physical entry, artifact retrieval, or stratigraphic context, the function of any internal space is open to interpretation. This scientific uncertainty is legitimate only when it stays disciplined. While archaeologists maintain a careful silence, waiting for verifiable data, unresolved internal space invites immediate, unproven claims from those searching for alternative histories. The limits of non-invasive science leave a quiet gap between what is observed and what is understood, a space that speculative theory immediately tries to fill, replacing physical evidence with imagination. In 1968, the publication of Chariots of the Gods introduced a speculative narrative to a global audience. Released at the peak of the Cold War space race, the idea that interstellar travelers visited ancient Earth resonated deeply with a public captivated by space exploration. Believers of this theory treat the physical realities of the Giza Plateau not as monuments of human labor, but as mysteries requiring outside intervention. Proponents point to the Great Pyramid's massive scale, comprising over 2 million stone blocks, and its near-perfect alignment to the cardinal directions, as features too precise for an ancient civilization to achieve. To those looking for alternative histories, these architectural details served as key evidence that the builders possessed technologies far beyond simple copper chisels and wooden sledges. This perspective leverages a natural human tendency to seek extraordinary explanations for complex ancient achievements, a psychological pattern that scholars call patternicity. Rather than examining the documented state logistics, quarry marks, and worker settlements, this modern myth attributes human construction to an outside agency, reflecting a deep-seated skepticism toward the capacities of ancient societies. Over the next several decades, this narrative grew from a fringe publishing phenomenon into a staple of international media. It moved from paperbacks to television specials and internet forums, cementing itself in popular culture. By framing the unknown as proof of a cosmic visitor, the theory created a durable modern myth that bypasses the archaeological record, offering an alternative explanation that continues to capture the public imagination. To validate any claim of extraterrestrial involvement in the construction of the Great Pyramid, the scientific method demands a specific, high standard of proof. Speculative theories cannot rest on what is missing from the historical record or what remains currently unexplained. Instead, they require positive, verifiable evidence that cannot be explained by terrestrial means. First, researchers would need to discover non-terrestrial materials within the monument or the surrounding plateau. This would mean finding physical components, tools, or structural elements composed of isotopic alloys or elements that do not occur naturally on Earth, or materials manufactured using metallurgy completely foreign to the Bronze Age. To date, every chemical and isotopic analysis of the limestone, granite, and mortar used at Giza confirms they are entirely terrestrial in origin, matching the local geology of Egypt and the documented quarries of Tura and Aswan. Second, the claim would require explicit, contemporaneous inscriptions. Rather than interpreting symbolic hieroglyphs through a modern speculative lens, researchers would need to uncover administrative texts, royal decrees, or quarry marks that explicitly describe non-human builders, celestial visitors, or sky-dwelling instructors. The existing epigraphic record contains only the opposite, highly detailed, everyday human logs, such as the Diary of Mirror, which catalog the mundane, shift-by-shift realities of Egyptian work crews. Finally, the theory demands the presence of technology demonstrably beyond the capability of the era. This would mean uncovering physical artifacts or distinct tool marks left by high-energy lasers, advanced machining, or anti-gravity devices. Instead, the physical evidence on the stone consists entirely of copper chisel striations, dolerite hammer impact craters, and wood wedge fractures. These simple physical marks match the exact capabilities of the ancient tools recovered from the workers' town of Hayt el Garab. Because the archaeological record contains no verified trace of non-terrestrial physics, exotic materials, or non-human intervention, the hypothesis of alien construction fails the basic threshold of scientific inquiry. Human engineering, backed by highly organized state logistics, a massive rotating workforce, and a clear administrative framework, fully occupies the evidentiary ground. Speculative rescue explanations are unnecessary when the physical, textual, and biological evidence already tells a complete, terrestrial story of human organization and effort. Every discovery on the plateau continues to ground the monuments in the ancient Nile Valley, leaving no empty space for cosmic intervention. The physical structure of the Great Pyramid has led some investigators to move past the idea of a simple stone monument and analyze the site as an industrial machine. In 1998, engineer Christopher Dunn proposed that the monument functioned as a massive acoustic engine, generating electricity by utilizing the piezoelectric properties of its granite chambers. According to this hypothesis, vibrations from the Earth were funneled through the Grand Gallery, creating resonant energy that was converted into electrical currents inside the king's chamber. However, direct laboratory measurements of the Giza stone tell a different story. Chemical and physical analyses of the local limestone and the imported Aswan granite show they possess standard dielectric constants, behaving exactly like ordinary geological samples found elsewhere in the region. There are no anomalous electromagnetic emissions or physical modifications to the stone that would allow them to store or conduct high-voltage electrical charges. To translate the concept of an ancient power plant or a radio transmitter into a testable scientific claim, the structure must meet the basic laws of modern physics. A functioning transmission system cannot exist through shape alone. It requires three fundamental components: an active power source, engineered conductivity to transport energy, and a deliberate antenna design. Limestone is a natural electrical insulator, and while granite contains quartz crystals that can exhibit piezoelectricity under extreme mechanical stress, raw masonry blocks piled in a pyramid configuration do not form a working circuit. On-site electromagnetic sweeps of the plateau confirm this limitation. Sensitive spectrum analyzers record only the standard ambient background radio frequency noise produced by natural atmospheric effects and modern communication networks in the surrounding desert. This absence of physical evidence becomes even clearer when evaluated against the rigorous detection standards established by SETI researchers, including astronomers Seth Shostak and Jill Tarter. For any structure to act as an interstellar communication beacon, it would require megawatt-scale power generation, a highly stable, tuned frequency, and a narrow beam antenna capable of propagating electromagnetic signals across light years. The Great Pyramid lacks any traces of the internal waveguides, coaxial networks, or metal elements required to focus and broadcast radio waves. Its solid masonry core is completely inert, with no physical mechanism to generate, modulate, or direct an electromagnetic signal. While some alternative theories suggest the geometry of the pyramid naturally concentrates ambient terrestrial energy, physical laws dictate that geometric shapes cannot create energy from nothing. Without an engineered internal power plant, conductive wiring, or transmitter architecture, the monument remains what the archaeological record shows, a grand work of ancient stone masonry, completely silent across the electromagnetic spectrum. For the ancient Egyptians, the absence of modern machinery did not mean a lack of purpose. To view the Great Pyramid merely as a tomb in the modern sense, a passive stone container for a corpse, is to misunderstand the entire intellectual and spiritual framework of the Old Kingdom. In their worldview, the roles of a royal tomb and a cosmic monument were not contradictory. They were completely identical. The pyramid, officially named Akhet Khufu, was designed as an active gateway of transformation, a physical launchpad built to project the deceased pharaoh into the eternal afterlife and secure the continuous order of the universe. At the heart of this design was the preservation of May-at, the ancient Egyptian concept of cosmic balance, truth, and order. The pharaoh was the living pivot between the earthly realm and the divine cosmos. His death threatened to plunge the world into chaos. Therefore, the construction of his monument was a critical state-level preservation effort. The immense stone core served as an anchor, holding the sky and earth in place while the king made his transition. This sacred function explains the extreme geometric precision and astronomical alignments of the structure, the alignment of the pyramid's sides to the cardinal points, and the targeting of its internal shafts towards specific star systems was not a demonstration of lost high-tech signaling devices. Instead, it was an act of profound ritual architecture. The northern shafts pointed directly toward the circumpolar stars, known to the Egyptians as the Indestructibles, because they never set below the horizon. By aligning the chambers with these eternal celestial bodies, the builders constructed a permanent channel for the king's soul to ascend and merge with the unchanging heavens. The extraordinary accuracy of Giza was not a byproduct of industrial utility, but a requirement of religious magic. To the ancient mind, a flawed angle or a misaligned wall would jeopardize the spiritual efficacy of the entire monument, disrupting the king's journey and threatening the cosmic order. The physical engineering and the metaphysical purpose operated as a single, unified system. The hidden purpose of the pyramid was indeed sacred, demanding the absolute limit of human precision to build a structure that bridged the gap between the mortal Nile Valley and the infinite cosmos. The endurance of these extraordinary claims reveals more about the human mind than ancient engineering. Anthropologists observe that people naturally seek patterns and assign intent to massive, silent monuments. This psychological inclination found fertile ground during colonial-era exploration, when Western observers struggled to credit ancient African societies with such sophisticated construction. Over the decades, sensational books and modern media amplified these doubts, turning the Giza Plateau into a screen for contemporary anxieties and space-age fantasies. The physical reality of the stone is replaced by a grander, more satisfying myth. Yet, scientific evidence does not diminish the monument's power. Instead, recognizing the immense human effort behind the stones offers a different kind of wonder, proving that the truest mystery of Giza is our own capacity for imagination. Today, the Great Pyramids stand as mirrors to our own imagination. The real question is no longer how they were built, but why we constantly look beyond ourselves to explain them. Perhaps the ultimate secret they guard is our own hesitation to believe what humanity can achieve. They remain a monument to human potential, challenging us to look upward. What do you believe is their true legacy? Let us know in the comments below.